And I don't think our culture does a good job of teaching us how to love ourselves, how to be good to ourselves, how to honor the vessel that God has created in us. And so,
Hello there, and welcome to Breathe and Bloom. I am so glad you decided to click on this video and to join me. On this channel, we talk about how to invest in different areas of our lives so we can bloom, thrive, and grow in all the areas of our lives. And as you can see, I have a very special guest here today. And before I have her introduce herself and tell us a bit about what she does, I want to tell you why we're here to begin with. So we will be talking about self-love today, why it's important, how to go about doing it. We'll be talking about a self-love day. We're releasing this close to Valentine's Day with the idea that this is a great day for single women especially to be intentional about practicing self-love. So before we get any further in it, I want to let you know that this is just part one of a two-part series. We'll be having part two on Coach Cheryl's channel, and so you definitely want to watch that. So let us hear about this special guest. Tell us about yourself, please.
hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Ashley, for having me. My name is Cheryl Thomas. I am a minister, best-selling author, and a certified Christian life coach. And on my channel, I speak to single Christian women, advising them and encouraging them to take their life off hold so that they can create a life that they love and not just tolerate waiting on a date. So we talk about things about how to live the holistic life. John 10:10 says, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And so I just teach single Christian women how to live the abundant life that God has called you in your life, in your family, in your career, while God is preparing your king for the queen that you are.
Amen, amen. All right, well, let us jump right into it. What is self-care, or rather self-love? I say self-care is a part of it, but let's hear how you would define self-love and why that's important.
I think self-love is when you know enough about yourself to treat yourself well, to not prioritize everyone over you. Because what I have learned in my 50 some odd years of life is that if I don't feel good about me, I can never treat anyone else well. And I don't think our culture does a good job of teaching us how to love ourselves, how to be good to ourselves, how to honor the vessel that God has created in us. And so I think it's so very important to define self-love as me honoring me as important as you. I'm not more important than you. I'm not less important. I am as important as anyone that I have in my life, whether that be a family member, whether that be a coworker, a colleague, a friend. I am just as important. And if I can love you with everything I have in me, Ashley, I have to love me first to be able to do that. And as women, I think sometimes we have difficulty doing that because we often put everybody else in front of us. Our mates are important, our family is important, our church life is important. And so we run through the day and then we're exhausted. And then we say, okay, I'm going to do 10 minutes of self-care. I'm going to take it. That doesn't work. I have to honor myself. I have to see myself as worthy first of love before I can extend that. So I think it's important for us to honor ourselves, to see ourselves as important, then treat ourselves well.
A lot of us, especially women, are givers. And so our first instinct is to give and to make sure everybody else is good, make sure everybody else is happy and taken care of. Often at the demise of ourselves, not leaving any time for us. And, there's this, we can think of the imagery of pouring out water for someone. You have your relatives or your friends, your spouse, or person you're dating, and they're thirsty. And so you're like, let me give them something to drink. But if there's nothing in your vessel, there is nothing for you to pour out. or if there's just one last little drop of water, if you pour that out, then there's nothing left for you and nothing left for you to give off the next time. And, while you were talking, I started to think about why it might be that we find it often so easy to rush along and do for others and to ignore ourselves. And you said we need to recognize that we are worthy. And so it's probably that we don't think of ourselves as worthy. Oh, I don't deserve an hour. I don't deserve a whole day.
Right.
There are more important things to do. Or recognizing that there's some hurt on the inside that we need to take care of. And, I'd rather ignore that and go do some more pleasant things. If I were to say 3 reasons self-love is important, and there's so many other reasons, say it's important for your own happiness.
Yes.
We can't be happy unless, we know ourselves, we've done some self-searching, we know why we're happy. If not, it's just some surface level sort of thing. It's important for our relationship.
Yes.
And we've sort of hinted at that before. I said 3 things, but I'm going to throw in a 4th one. The third is it's important for our success, because when we know we're worthy, then we are going to make the boss move to reach our goals. And then the 4th one, again, we hinted at, it's pleasing to the Lord. He wants us to love ourselves. He's all about love. He made us because he loves us and wants us to be in a loving relationship with him. And because he imprinted us with his DNA, he made us in such a way where we want to love and we are deserving of love. All right.
I love it.
Let us jump into talking about, how to actually do this thing called self-love.
Wow. That is, that's a whole university course, how to love yourself. And this is one thing that I found for me, and maybe it'll be true for some of the viewers. I found out that I couldn't love myself well because I didn't know myself. I had spent the majority of my life working off other people's ideas of who I was, who they thought I should be, instead of trying to learn myself for myself. And so I spent the first 30 years of my life being who people thought I should be, being who people told me I was, instead of asking God, who am I? The creator of me. Who am I? How he caused me to form and how he caused me to function, what he had already placed inside of me. And so when I took the time to get to know God, God just put a mirror up and showed me who I was. And it was in those moments of learning who God was that God taught me who I was, who he created me to be, that I found out the things that made me happy, the things that made me joyful, the things that made me stressed, the things that made me feel pressured. It was like learning who God was teaching me who I was. It was the strangest thing to me because I never expected that. I was on this deep move, Ashley, I was going to learn who God was. And, and then he was like, no, here's you. Let me show you you. And so I think when we are trying to walk through this journey of learning who we are, we can't learn who we are effectively without knowing the person that created us. When we're really trying to learn about ourselves, values and systems that God has placed on the inside of us, when we learn who God is, he shows us who we are and he teaches me. In my mid-30s, God taught me who I was. He taught me that to really love myself, I had to know what I liked. And so I was like, well, God, I don't know what I like. I thought I did, but I knew what other people told me I like. I knew what I thought that I would try to see what I liked. And the God said, no, this is what you like. Wow. You know that about me? Oh my gosh. Well, God, what makes me feel rested? What makes me feel at peace? The things that I thought would make me feel at peace, having a fat bank account, doing all this other stuff I thought would be peaceful for me, but it wasn't. It's like, what makes you feel peaceful is when you are with your family. That's a certain level of peace. When you spend time with me, you get a certain level of peace. Taking a walk in the park gives you peace. Hearing ocean waves on the shore makes you feel at peace. And so all of these things I didn't know until God started to reveal it to me. So I think when we're on the journey to find out how to love ourselves effectively, that comes, number one, from a personal relationship with God. And then it comes from exposing yourself to the things that God clicks in your spirit. And then listening to yourself while you're in that moment. While I'm in that moment, whether I'm taking a walk, I'm like, oh, I feel real peaceful. Why do I feel peaceful? And then I have conversations with myself. What about this makes me feel peaceful? What about this makes me feel rested? What about this makes me feel happy? And because a lot of times when I'm outdoors, I feel at peace because I intrinsically feel closer to God in those times, in those places, and in those spaces. And so it's in those times when I'm doing prayer walks, or I'm just venting a lot of times to God about what's going on in my life. And so I think we can't know what we love or how to love ourselves effectively aside from a relationship with God. And that takes time, and it takes effort, it takes energy. But the end result, the fruit of it, is so deep and so important. If I'm having a bad day, if I take a walk, it just does something mentally, it does something spiritually for me that all the conversations with other people just don't do for me.
And you said some just amazing things right there. And if you needed any more reasons to go watch part 2, we're only a couple minutes in, and it's rich. At least it is blessing me. Now, I loved that you mentioned a mirror. You said it was as if God put up a mirror in front of you. And one of the things I want to suggest that we do as we practice self-love, as we're intentional about practicing self-love, is called mirror work. And I'll talk with you about that in a second. Now, as far as having a relationship with God, I talked about the verse that says we need to love our neighbor as ourselves, suggesting that we need to love ourselves so we know how to love our neighbors. The verse before that says we need to love God. And so it's putting things in perspective. It's saying, hey, first comes relationship with the one who designed us. And in that relationship, we'll get to know him, know how he created us, know what makes us feel this way, that way, and all the ways. And we'll know how to take care of ourselves and love ourselves. And then we'll be able to pour out.
God has created and handcrafted you precisely how he wanted you to be. You are fearfully and you are wonderfully made. You are the handiwork of God. When he looks at you, he sees perfection. So when you start seeing yourself how God sees you and how other people see you, or how you think you want to be because you see them, when you accept you, you'll be fine.
And I mean, what else can I add to that? But that's the icing on the cake. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so we encourage you to take time to really work on believing that, not just knowing it, not just liking the idea, but being fully convicted of that as a truth. You are loved, you are worthy of love, and you are loving and lovable, and so much more that you will find as you spend time with the one who created you. So thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to check out part 2 as we continue this conversation on self-love and, and love in general. We look forward to talking with you over in the comment section. Continue to breathe and to bloom, which simply means pause to do what you need to do to nourish yourself. Until next time, take care.